Hey, welcome back to Awesome Life Podcast. I'm Karen Stelch, your host. And today I'm with a wonderful, wonderful lady. She is a friend of mine, as well as an extremely talented clairvoyant. How cool is that? Jessica King, aka Clairvoyant Jess. She is on a mission. She has a goal to bring healing to our soul's level, and she knows how to do that. She accepts no BS. She just goes right out and takes care of things and brings a lot of energy with her in everything that she does. So welcome, amazing clairvoyant Jess. How are you today?
I am great. I am so happy to be here, Karen, and I appreciate you so much for having me.
Oh, it is totally my pleasure. I've been hoping to have Jess with me for quite a while now, and we finally were able to connect. So how did this all come about for you, Jess? So being a clairvoyant, being a medium, and working with business coaching clients.
By happenstance, it was definitely not the life plan or goal. I have been in 25 years sales and marketing at the corporate level. And about, a little over 5 years ago was the first time that I ever lost my first ever corporate job. It was the only job I'd ever been terminated from. And despite the fact that Spirit told me it was going to happen, I argued. I didn't win.
All for a reason, yes?
Yeah. They're like, it's going to happen. I was like, no, I'm good. Thank you, but no. And so as a single mother and out of necessity of needing income, I launched two businesses out of necessity and refurbishing furniture and that I talked to the dead. And I found out really fast that as soon as people find that you're legitimate in this industry, that they actually find it a lot more interesting for you to be able to talk to the dead people than they do actually you refurbishing their furniture. And it's a lot less work when it comes to physical and manual labor. So here we are, a little over 5 years later, and it's just continued to evolve and grow as I have. So it's been an exciting, process. And the further along I've come, I mean, of course, it's just morphed into more than what I could have possibly imagined.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And yeah, you've had these gifts for how long?
My entire life.
Your whole life. So basically, you're just getting to the point where a spirit said, okay, girl, you're going to lose out on your day job, and we're going to make you listen closer and serve the world in a bigger way. Is that
yes? I call it coming out of the psychic closet. So
coming out of the psychic closet, I love it.
Yeah. So they were like, you're done. Because I mean, I was doing readings and I was helping people before this, but I was doing it totally in the closet, and it was just people that would be brought to my front door, literally by people that knew me, and they would just be like, look, she sees things, she hears things, or she had somebody that just passed, or whatever it was that they had going on, and I would help them. But that was it. That's enough. That was my comfort zone.
And now you have really expanded, and you are helping business. Well, I said coaches, but do you work with other people in business, or basically?
I do. I work with people in business. I work with individuals. I do group events. I mean, it's pretty wide array of ways that I work with businesses. Everything from energy that they've maybe got experiencing within the if they've got a facility that has gotten a lot of toxic energy in there. If they're having issues with their processes and the way things are kind of going, and they're not really sure what direction they're supposed to be taking, and they're confused, or they know that they have a gut instinct, but they don't really know how to tap into it so that they can actually use it to leverage for their business and understand kind of the ways that they're being guided.
Oh, wow. Wow. So you talk to the dead. Is it the dead that come and give this advice, or is it?
It is business spirit guides.
Spirit guides, okay.
Yeah, so we all have different types of spirit guides that we can connect with. And the business spirit guides are solely on a mission to help you with your career and your business. And so being able to have a communication with them and have that contact with them so that they can say, hey, wrong way, or hey, you're missing this over here, then, it makes it to where you can really accelerate yourself into a different direction, because you're tapping into, that universal energy that is so exciting and so powerful and is meant for every one of us, because that's what we're here for, is we're here to succeed. And that's what they desire for us. So they don't mean for us to, run our heads up against the wall and keep having blocks and obstacles and things like that. But if we don't hear them, then it makes it kind of like, it's more of sometimes we're running into walls.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I have always known deep inside, without really being able to connect with anybody specifically. That's changing as I'm growing here, and everybody has this ability to connect with their spirit guides. It's just a case of it was kind of knocked out of us at a very early age.
Yes.
But you were able to keep that connection. And so it's a whole lot easier in that. But I always had the knowing that it is easy. It does not have to be hard. It's just how we kind of look at it and how open and aware we are of things going on. And you are able to provide that in a much simpler, easier way, clearly, straight to the point, it sounds like.
Very much so. I know that I guess the reason I always had to, put in that no BS type, energy is there are a lot of people that are intuitives that are out there that do may do it in a softer and more, rainbows and fluffy and everything else like that. And that's great, because it's meant for certain people and they need that. I'm here for the ones that need to be shook up a little bit. And they need, just the clear, direct messages, and know that it's not going to be sugar coated. I mean, however it's coming to me is how it's going to come out. And sometimes that can be a little bit harsh, but I'll say it with love and say, this is kind of the direction we need to go. But I don't want anyone to come to me thinking that they're not going to get any direct, advice that they might not be ready for. So sometimes it's can be unsettling when we start really unearthing, some of those deep things.
Oh, wow. But that's where we have to go sometimes to unearth them. Again, it does not have to be hard to overcome them. It just is. Yes, we do need to look at those things. And until for me, I simply wasn't even aware. And I think most of my clients that come to me now, and probably most of the people who come to you, they just know something is off. They just don't know what it is or how to find it. Is that where you come in?
Sometimes it's they don't know what it is. Sometimes they know what it is, but I guess I almost attribute it to it's a little, with life, if we're holding something that's hot, it's easy for us to put down because we know it's burning us. But sometimes when it's life experience that is the one that's burning us, and then we get just clogged in all of life, what life hands us. And there is so much sometimes with, how heavy things can be, that we just don't see the way out past the obstacles.
Oh, and you are able to find your way around the obstacles, huh?
And at least just say, hey, let's face this here, and let's, we have to let this burden go and let's find the path that you need to be on, and quit trying to look at, the entire mountain that you're trying to climb, and look at the step in front of you so that you start making that direction. Yeah. Yeah. A vision just came to me of an old cartoon. It was in the New Yorker, I think it was, of miles and miles of people walking up this path to the top of the mountain to meet with the guru. And the guru was on the backside of the mountain where the elevator was. And that's what you do. Why not look for the elevator? Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's even one that I saw on something that was literally, it was the mountain that looked so menacing, but then there was the river that flowed around it.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was like, so, I mean, do you want to hike the mountain, or do you want to just float in the river and float, around it, and you'll still get to the same destination?
Exactly. Letting people recognize it doesn't have to be an obstacle. You can go around it. You can, you just don't have to make it as hard as we're making it.
No.
And the thing that I find to be the hardest, though, is to find the right person that you can. Yes. It isn't even a case of know, like, and trust. It is a case of, are they able to do what they say?
Yes.
This is what I need. And you are the real deal. And I am a skeptic from the nth degree. But I know that Jess and a couple of other people that I am really close to and listen to and am guided by are the real deal. That's all there is to it. I would never have anybody on our show that couldn't be of great help to those who are in transition, who are looking for something. And I know there are a lot of people out there.
A lot of them.
That they say, I've had this evil thing around me all my life, talking to the dead. They're always, as a matter of fact, I met a young lady like that. She said, how do you do that? How do you do that, Karen? She said, you're sitting there with these white orbs all around you. And I have these dark people sitting on my bed, and I just want to get rid of them.
Aww.
No, these are your gift.
Yeah.
Help them, it's always, and help others.
Yeah. And it's so alarming. I mean, and I get that because they would wake me up in the middle of the night. I would wake up with people in bed with me. I used to get my bed shook all the time. Yeah. And I always just try to, I guess, assure people that, that's what I attribute to an out of control gift. And when you're ignoring them and you think that that's your best way, your best line of defense, is to ignore them, because if you ignore them, then maybe they'll go away. But then they get louder and louder and louder, and they're not going away. So it's actually in the acknowledgement of them, and then setting the ground rules and boundaries, just like we do in every relationship. We have to set it with them.
Yeah. Well, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. We all have boundaries that need to be set right from the get-go, and not be afraid and not to ignore. It's just like our fears. We need to address those so that we can move on and let go of it. Yeah. And help them dissipate and get to where they need to go. And the thing that I want our listeners to recognize too is that you have done just that. You knew what was coming, and yet you had said, no, I'm not, I'm fine where I am. I'm not going any further. But when push came to shove, you had to take the gifts that you had to create income that is sustainable in an easy way. I mean, really, a whole lot easier than furniture refinishing.
Right.
So, and it's with you all the time. Can you turn it on and off?
Well, that's when I got control of it. So they do have rules now. They're not allowed, to bother me at certain times. I mean, so I ask for certain places to be left alone unless it's an emergency, and it's somebody's that it's life-threatening situation that has come into play. But if it's not, then leave me alone. It's not the time, because if not, I was feeling frazzled and drained and pulled in every other direction. I mean, so I have to have that time where I turn it off. I mean, I want to be able to be present when my son's at his baseball tournaments, and and present in just the day-to-day life. And so that's definitely been a major benefit to me, listening finally as they took me down this path, that I have more control than I actually recognized. I just wasn't choosing to find the way to connect and actually know how to control it.
And I think a lot of people, you don't know what you don't know. And they have the control. I don't. But we all
Right.
have control over our own life, don't we?
We do, and we are the ones living. So we definitely
Yeah,
we have to control.
and the reality is that we are the only ones we can control. Period.
Right.
We are the only ones. So setting those boundaries is a huge way of keeping control over yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, it's just, I found it so much easier when I understood that concept, and it just makes so much sense to people. And I'm like, look, why would you not establish boundaries for that? If you establish, when you meet someone, if they're running over you and, trying to make you do things that you don't want to do, wouldn't you say something to them?
Very good point. Very good point. Yes. And you are able to also help people create the confidence in themselves so they can set up that
Yes,
that boundary.
absolutely. Yeah, it's there's a program that I've been that's, I guess, has been going, this is Awakening Your Spirit. That's been fantastic because it allows them all those base fundamentals that they can actually go back and watch over and over. But it also, and I'm working with some one-on-one coaching so that it actually helps them with understanding just those fundamentals that a lot of people, when they start trying to, I guess, understand gifts, they start watching YouTube and they start reading books and all this stuff. And it's so hard to know who to trust.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it all comes down to trust, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And I mean, and there is, a lot of people out there that may have good intentions, but just maybe don't give them the right guidelines. And I really worked really hard off of all of my flippers and blunders and failures, opening up to my gift that, to try to prevent them from taking the same bumpy road that my path took.
Now, let me ask you, you have your guides, but you're talking to me.
Yeah.
Are you talking to my guides or to your guides and getting that information?
They all work together.
They all work together. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
So your guides, when we are, talking, they will become in cahoots with my guides, and then they relay information, and then that just gets transposed for the higher good of whoever needs to hear the message.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, it's called collaboration and cooperation. Yeah.
Right. It happens everywhere.
It's a relationship. Whenever you have a relationship, these are the things that you need to know about.
Yes.
And Jessica has been very kind and helpful in giving me some guidance along the way. So I like I say, I know she is amazing. I don't know. I hesitate to ask, is there anything that our listeners should know?
Well, there's a lot that's, I guess, currently going on. I guess with any of the current energy that I've been, of course, relaying out to people was one. There's been a lot of energy and emotion that's been going on about bringing up emotional insecurities. A lot of stuff that's about our traumas and all the things that maybe we've had in our past that have really been surfacing their heads lately, and really bringing up to the front a lot of insecurities and anxieties and things like that. And really, honestly, they're have been asking me to make sure that everyone knows that they're not bringing it up to cause more pain. They're bringing it up to be released, so that you can move past that, so that those barriers no longer cause obstacles in your path. And then they're also wanting to make sure that everyone is aware that, that there is still going to be a good number of trials for another year to 2 years. And so things are not going to the norm that, everybody, I think, keeps looking back for and is continuing to try to seek. Is not really going to ever come back in the way that they may expect. And that's the reason they want y'all to understand that, but it's not because they want you to have like a upheaval and disruption, but they're wanting you to understand is that there needs to be a new normal, that's a better normal, that's actually a normal that is more spiritually and emotionally fulfilling.
Oh, cool. So we are not going to go back to the way it was. We will never have what we had 3 years ago.
We will not have what we had 3 years ago. There will be a good number of losses within that. And I mean, by people that decide that they're not going to be a part of this realm anymore. But as this all goes through, I mean, it will be what is the new earth. They're looking for it to be different than what it was because we needed that.
So what's going on now, if I understand correctly, and please tell me if I don't, what is going on now is the way it's supposed to be, period.
Well,
and the
we're having a
respond to
realignment. Yeah, a realignment of the way that we have done things and the things that have been allowed and accepted or even developed. You know, the structures and of businesses and the way that everybody was disconnected from their family and their loved ones, and they were constantly going and running, and you know, it was like there was never enough time.
Yeah, and that has been one of the big complaints.
It was, and a lot of it was. That was a big complaint, and along with the fact that, I mean, everybody felt like that they were doing so much and getting nowhere and feeling so burnt out with their current environment and current energies that was going on. Now, there was a good portion of people that listened and have started to realign themselves and understand that it's not meant to be hard. We're not here to struggle, and they're realigning to that, you know, that new purpose. Now, there's others, though, that they were literally showing me, they've shown me like them walking down hallways and they're in the same home, but they're ignoring each other. And they're like, look, you asked for more time, we've given you more time, but yet you're still passing each other like strangers in the night. We're giving you the time to spend it and see that there's a different way to see with, you know, your day.
And things can, even though at the moment, it appears to be the worst thing in the world, it can be exactly what you need. As a matter of fact, it is exactly what you need. And it is the choice that we make as to the power given that situation. So if we gave our power away with the boo-hoo, I lost my job, what am I going to do? I'm going down into the depths of despair. And mind you, I've done that. I have done.
We all have. Oh, we all have. Yeah.
But then making that mind shift and recognizing through my guests here on the Awesome Life podcast, how things can be a whole lot easier. And guess what? Your gifts, if you are aware that you have these amazing gifts and you just don't know how to use them or feel confident with them, Jess King, clairvoyant Jess, is the lady to help.
And I guess, you know, some people are like, how do I even know if I have it? So I think that's always an interesting way to bring it around, because a lot of people, they think, well, I've always had these gut instincts. Okay, well, then you have intuition that you're tapping into already. I have these dreams that are super vivid, and then like this, you know, these experiences unfold. Then you have intuition. They're trying to reach out to you, but you're not tapping into it to actually fully access what they're telling you. You see, you know, number sequences consistently. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways that they'll be reaching out to you that people just totally miss. And I mean, I swear I used to make my prayer that I was like, make the path wide and obvious and possibly include some neon blinking arrows so I don't miss it. Because I was so hard-headed.
Well, yeah, me too. Maybe that's why we get along so well. It has to be shown. Just give me clear so I can see it, and then I'll make up my own mind. Thank you very much. I am my own person, but I need your advice, and I will decide what parts of that I might take and I might not take. What works for me at this moment in time, but I need to have that clear and concise and show it to me. And which leads me to my next question. I did have a client once who came to me. She said, "Oh, Karen, I have set my clock at 4:4." No, she didn't say that. She said, "I wake up every morning at 4:44. Isn't that amazing? I wake up every morning at 4:44, every morning." And I said, "Wow, that really is telling you something." I said, "Wait a minute. Did you set your clock for 4:44?" She said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Wait a minute. And mind you, 444 or any sequence of numbers for our listeners, any sequence of numbers, if they keep reappearing for you, it is a message from spirit trying to tell you something. So, and the 444 is a very beneficial spiritual number.
Yeah.
So to have that every morning and wake up to it, it's like, whoa, girl, you're great. Now, but I set my clock for it. Is that, does that work?
That's not a sign.
That's not a sign. Okay.
That always cracks me up because of like people will call, will ask me, okay, was it a sign? My recently departed aunt's, favorite song just came on the radio. I swear it was a sign. And I'm like, hold the phone. And I was like, were you listening to a country music station? Was it a country song? And is it a current, popular song? Well, yes, that's not a sign. It just means that you were listening to a country music station and they were playing your aunt's song. You may think of her, but that's not a sign. Now, if you were listening to maybe a classical music station and all of a sudden that country song comes on, okay, there's your sign.
Okay. All righty.
It's got to be those things that are a little bit more, I guess, if you're constantly looking at like I guess, okay, so 333 was mine for a while. So was 911, were two of the numbers that I was getting a lot at one point. And I mean, I'm talking about, it would be on receipts. It would be on school buses. It was everywhere. And I was like, I think y'all are just getting sarcastic with me.
And you know what? Our guides do love to have fun with us, don't they?
They do.
And they love to laugh, and they love laughing at us and with us.
And with us, yes.
And it's the bottom line is that even when they're laughing at us, it is really because they're laughing with us and wanting us to be more aware.
Yes. Instead of us continuous to run those walls. I mean, because they're literally like, we sent you the path. We sent you another path that was trying to be easier. And so we've gotten so conditioned as a society that you have to work hard, that everything has to be hard. That it's going to be, that if you're not putting in, in blood, sweat, and tears, and it's, all these things that have just been from societal standards, that if it doesn't go that way, that we almost feel concerned that we're not doing something right.
Yeah.
And so we got to let that societal standard go, because it's not supposed to be that way. I mean, yes, some jobs may be physically laborious, but if it feels like you're literally, exhausted from your body and your mind and your spirit every day, then something's telling you,
something has to shift, and then
something
has to shift now. And those are the people who are listening into our show today. Yeah. The people that really do need that inspiration, need that information to find something a little bit different that will feel their soul, that will bring them light. That is what freedom is all about, when you're doing what you love.
Yeah. And I mean, it's always a choice to do, to do what we love and just shift our vibration and our energy. I used to, when I first started hearing that about shifting your vibration and your energy, and I was like, but how do you shift that? And I thought it was going to take like an act of Congress, and possibly, take a 5 to 10 year span.
Yeah. So what do you have advice for
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. I always encourage, to use the attitude of gratitude. I know that sounds so simple and so basic, But let me tell you, if there is a fast way to actually start shifting where you're at, if you will literally begin and end every day with things that you are thankful for, and you can never tell me that there is not at least 5 to 10 things that you can say that you are not thankful for that day. And when I say that from a place of understanding, because there's not much that I have not experienced, that I'm not trying to challenge saying, let's have a, bring up everybody's trauma, but I'm just saying, I do understand. I have been through a lot of those. And so, but there is always that place of, where you can bring that in, and it sets it into your conscious and your subconscious mind when you do it at night and do it in the morning. So it's not only helping to retrain that subconscious mind, it's helping to also, bring that conscious mind into the right attitude also.
Yeah.
So
it is key, I think, to create that intention.
Yes.
Of what you want to feel. And I know I try and write in my journal every night, my gratitude journal every night. Sometimes I'm just too tired. So I go to bed and I said, okay, I'm thankful. Isn't that enough? No, it's not. Writing it down is really important. I am grateful. There's no question about it. I can feel it. I can tell you, I am so grateful to have you in my life, but I didn't write it down. And therefore it is not really showing necessarily. Guaranteed when I go to bed tonight, I will write it down, but I digress. When I don't write it down, I have finally learned, if I don't write it down at night, I get up in the morning, because my intention is to feel joy in my heart every day.
Yeah.
And I can do that when I write down, this is so awesome.
Yeah.
I have an interview with Jess King today. Clairvoyant Jess, I am so excited. And it just makes the day go smoother. The time just sinks, everything. It was.
But you know what also you're doing when you actually choose to sit that down, especially during the day. Like if you decide to write it down. Now, I'm going to say you are one-upping me on the writing it down, because I really do stink at that part. But I do sit down and I take a moment of reverence and silence, and I go through each and every one and take a moment to honor each one. But when you say it in the mornings, especially about what you're excited about that day and what you're happy about and what you're grateful for, is you're also setting your intentions for what your expectation is for that day.
Yeah.
And so you're saying to, the God, the divine, the universe, whatever you choose to believe, because I don't judge on that. It's but you're telling them, this is what I'm expecting, and then it also creates that energy, which again shifts that vibration, because you're thanking them ahead of time before it ever even happens.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. You have so much wisdom, girl. And
it works so much better than the fact that I had to put a rubber band around my wrist, and literally I went around popping myself with it for weeks, because I was trying to shift my mind and my focus until I literally had welts around my wrist.
Oh, no.
And then I was like, this hurts. And then I had to recognize that that's what I was doing to my life and to my body and to my emotional state. And I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. And I finally took the rubber band off, but I was like, so y'all don't choose the rubber band route. It's painful just to go.
Yeah. Why punish yourself? Why not just make the choice and make the change? Why punish yourself?
Oh, yeah, take it from me. I promise you, the welts eventually do start becoming a little bothersome. So, and it looks like somebody kidnapped you. So then there's that situation also.
That's not necessarily a very good thing. No.
Right. No.
So Jess, our time is running out here a little bit, but how can people get in touch with you? You help so many.
Pretty much anywhere. Clairvoyantjess.com is the hub for everything. So that's my website. It's got links to all my social media on there, my booking page. It's got any information that you might want to find in regards to any of the YouTube videos that I've done, just a little bit of everywhere. It takes you just to each different network that I'm on. The Facebook is generally where I'm at a pretty significant amount of time when you want to see regular messages that might want to uplift you, because I do try to make sure that I give messages to my to people that follow me there a couple times a week, whatever spirit's kind of lending me to share with people. But all of it happens, you can find from clairvoyantjess.com.
Fantastic. And you don't have to be in the same room with somebody to really help them.
Absolutely not. I've actually now covered all 50 states, and I think we're at 6 countries. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep.
So any last words before we go?
You know what? I'm feeling led. I don't know when this will be, when you'll be airing, but I was going to say we do have the Soulgasm event coming up that is going to be an hour and a half of channeled messages to uplift people's heart and spirit. And it is a way that we're just going to be, I'm going to be working with another medium, and we'll both want to share messages that will be made to lift vibration of energy for the group. So if they have, I guess, if this comes out in time, then I would love to see anybody that's interested in joining.
And what is the date of that? And how
it's going to be
sign up?
February the 12th.
Okay.
Is when it is. And it is going to be a live online event. So if they go to my website, they should see the link there. The link's also on my Facebook business page. Either place, you can click on it and register, and then you'll get the link sent automatically to your email for you to join into the live video for that evening.
So February 12th.
7 p.m. Eastern.
Live evening, and clairvoyantjess.com is the place to go to access this. If, by the way, this is being first broadcast in 2022. So let you know. And if you don't get in on that live mediumship with her cohort in crime there, so to speak.
Yeah.
Jess is amazing. And as you can hear, she can really help you from anywhere. And,
yes.
And she is so accessible, and she has zero judgment, which is something we all need to learn more to have. Judgment is our downfall, and we usually judge ourselves too hard.
Yes, most. So yeah, feel free to book a free consultation of any of my coaching services, and I would be happy to talk to you just a little further on anyone that's interested.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, by the way, I will have all of this information in the show notes below, and come on over to our YouTube channel and be sure to click subscribe and hit the notifications bell, and let Jess know how awesome she is, because we only have awesome people on Awesome Life, right? Thank you, Jess, so much for joining me.
Thank you, Karen. It was great.
Bye-bye.